Audio Jungle.
Manusia, Mapako Yibi Mike, and me PC. Now, officially, and then you call it Saba. Officially. And say, I have been falling gentleman. And so,
alright, everything. Another idea, Yatia Sembo. Younger say anything, a journalist, a year Captain Smart, I would in Juma, a year Unia TV, I media general, I Captain Smart. Another idea, Yada Solea, Captain Smart, I say what in Juma dear. Aba ewiye ewom se empanimfo ni bi ente ase nipa beye bi nanso wan beye ni yina ye ne tia eye de enti a eye Captain Smart resign yina ne se nansen eye Prophet Roger ebe ma eye Captain Smart sam nkom hye bi efa eye MP a ebe leading to presidency na eno na nsem wa ye hu se eye Captain Smart ewurawura mu eye campaign ni ade make a lot of promises na ye dwen say ya agro na nso say de Captain Smart say odi ni G.Media odi ni ewo Onua TV na aba ewiye officially enya say okọ na wasaba ye ne tia say eye 2021 NHS say eye Captain Smart ebe PM ewo Media General was serving for 5 years in the 2026 in the query a Captain Smart said the aya na it's what the G.Media ebeko area yenitia abusia or the insembi etuja na yebebo ewrem na yakotie eye Captain Smart ensema o kan yewia ensem a fufura ewechi ebehwe na yato aso ede
Bidimafo den munyina moya de mesramo me tweme ho manusia mekwa yibe Mike ene me year PC na officially ene de enye ye kone ya saba officially minim say I am penny falling jintum nanso berema baby papa na Mike me no ho Moses bra I want you to mic me on air Moses Mitchell I want him to take off my microphone on air. Na men crowd say men koye juma kakra emwanipa. Want me my own. Na memwa. Want me ma. Oh. Okay. It's a for your friend Captain Blessed God's brain smart. Minkonye din na yire nchikumeni asebi. Mo friend Captain Smart. Bebaha 1st June 2021. Officially ahana mere dema me kwanya ewie tumani ina etino ubia utie mi no nyame onhira mapon nyame nhira so utie mi
Roberto, I mean, on this same point that Richard Ahangba ended on, the judges struck out the defective charges and raised questions essentially about whether or not the other charges that were so properly filed met the threshold of it being beyond reasonable doubt, as we have seen. What's the issue in there?
I have been trying to figure out whether they struck out all the charges and whether, in their view, all of the charges were so flawed as to not be upheld.
No, the defective.
And I think
that's...
they said, from my reading, it wasn't everything. They dealt with a few, and then it seemed they seem to have said that these charges, so many of them are defective, and then they proceed to clear the rest. I'm a bit worried about that. Even one charge is enough to put somebody in jail. And you see, we lawyers always say justice must be done, it must be seen to be done. If justice is done, it is seen. All right? And the same happens with injustice. And let me explain. So, before Sedina came to Ghana, there were people who predicted that in Twi we say Yakohu Abrewa, there's Ken, there's Sedina. The pressure for bringing Sedina back or effecting her extradition rose very high because they were going after Ken. And it was clear to many people that, well, to get Ken, they would have to bring Sedina. So people conjecture that they will bring Sedina. Because you don't do that, you can't get Ken. But if they bring Sedina, she will be sick when she comes. I'm saying these are conjectures that people make. And so she will not see a day in jail. You remember there was the whole issue of where is she? All right. And then they predicted that, oh, Sedina will do an appeal. And then they predicted that there will be, a stay pending the appeal, and that the appeal is going to go Sedina's way. I think some of you heard some of these things. And that she will appeal, and they will exonerate her, and she will never see a day in jail. It is worrying, because I have said already that sometimes it seems as if the politicians have dreams, and they make wishes, and then the judiciary delivers it. Okay, one event is not a trend. So you don't create a trend on one event. But no wise person ignores a trend. It started with Justice Tokono. Statements were made before they even came into power. They come into power, something happens. Justice Tokono is gone. You had other situations, GN Bank. Okay, promises were made outside the courtroom. Okay, then somehow the judiciary delivers the dreams of the politicians.
Well, the Bank of Ghana is appealing that now.
Well, as we stand right now, see the trend? No wise person ignores a trend. Some politicians make statements to a certain effect somehow, and then they go on appeal. Same thing happened with Sedina. Okay, people express something before the fact, and then it happens, and then they go on appeal. All right, and you see the series of nolli prosequis. Okay, there is a clear trend that the smart thing to do is, if you get in trouble, find a way to escape and wait for your political party to come into power, and they will clear you. We've seen the nolli prosequis. Nobody can deny there is a trend. Okay, we are being too hypocritical in Ghana, and I'm not saying people should be railroaded into jail when it's not due or whatever it is. But there's a man who liked chichinga kebab, but one day he saw them slaughtering a cow, and he said, no, they shouldn't slaughter the cow. And they asked him, if you don't slaughter a cow, how will you get your chichinga? Look at Galamsey. We've been crying over decades over Galamsey that no kingpin has been caught or whatever it is. Then the government starts going after people, and one or two people get trapped in the thing. And then you hear all kinds of things. Look at this corruption thing we have been crying about. Okay. And honestly, if there is any benefit of doubt regarding judges, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay. But we lawyers also know that you can argue any side of anything and rationalize anything. Okay. So when you put it all together, it doesn't look like we are serious about fighting this corruption thing, because nobody can convince me, after the work Manasseh did, after the evidence we saw, you go and buy something which on the street is 2 cedis. On the street is 2 cedis. And you alone, when you go and buy it, it comes up to be 4 cedis. And so many different things. The facts were clear. All right? And if even you had issues with some of these, you know, the work of the prosecutor, like Richard is saying, we are not there to judge the work of the prosecutor, although they are important. I have said, okay, and I said it based on the Kenneth Ofori-Atta case and other things, that we need to look hard at the way our prosecutors proceed, because they mess up cases.
That the question is whether or not the state put up a good case. These 78 charges, was it more of a fishing expedition? Was it
I'm making a general point, and that's why
that's the issue that you're pointing to.
So I don't think anybody doubts that what went on in Maslock was untoward. And by the way, let me make this call: abolish Maslock. Abolish Maslock. When they started, I remember some of these things that Imani says. They say we don't like anything, and then they will talk about, you know, ideology. I think it started during the MPP time. MPP set it up or something. You know, and we said, look, you have all these banks and financial institutions and everything. Today they said they are going to start a women's bank. Okay. And the warning was that be careful about some of these things, because they can easily become slush funds. Maslock has become a slush fund. Look at the track. Okay. And invariably, more often than not, you hear about they giving loans to political operatives, and they don't recover those loans, and then we end up having problems. So there's another trend there. But the thing is, where there is a crime, as in, or there is, you know, the suggestion that there's been a crime, as was obvious in this case, our prosecutors must be careful. Because my point in the case of Kenneth Ofori-Atta was that the way they have gone about it, even if the man was guilty, you are going to let him loose. So please, it's coming up here again. All right. However, if you look at section 406 of Act 30, okay, it clearly brings to question what the justices of the appeal court did. Okay. And 406 generally talks about substance and not form. That you don't just throw out everything because there were errors in, you know, certain things, and it doesn't go to the substance. And in one of the statements, I kind of gleaned that the justices were making the suggestion that it goes to the substance, and I was looking for where it goes to the substance, and I didn't see it. So for you to say they did a sloppy job, and the job was so sloppy that the crime didn't happen, okay, I think that if you flip the other side, yes, they have to prove beyond reasonable doubt, but for you to also take it up and throw everything away, you have to prove, at least to reasonable people, that everything that was done was wrong. Look, one charge alone is enough to put a person in jail. Okay, so to suggest, and by the way, she has been acquitted and discharged. Okay,
which means that any other
charge
is completely
okay.
out.
Now, if you put all of, I said, don't ignore a trend. If you put the sweepiness of the action, everything gone. If you put some of the things that were done, it looks like somebody wanted to just freeze it up. And then you connect it to the things that were said before she came. You ask yourself, where are we going with this corruption thing? What signal does this thing send? So for me, look, let's see how the appeal will go. But I can tell you something here. I don't think that appeal is going to go anywhere.
You don't think the appeal will go anywhere?
I don't think so.
The Attorney General is convinced. He says that, look, he sees merit in the charges, and the reason why he's going to court, and on the grounds of appeal. Listen to the language of that notice of appeal and the stay of execution.